Canada going tyrannical. Second, total lockdown, isolation camps for refusers. I received this from an elected member of the Canadian government who is aghast at the Prime Minister's office, PMO's plans for our neighbors to the north. This is a nightmare unfolding. Quote, I want to provide you some very important information. I'm a committee member within the Liberty Party of Canada. I sit with several committee groups, but the information I'm providing is originating from the Strategic Planning Committee, which is steered by the PMO. I need to start off by saying that I'm not happy doing this, but I have to, as a Canadian and more importantly as a parent who wants a better future, not only for my children, but also for other children as well. The other reason I'm doing this is because roughly 30% of the committee members are not pleased with the direction this will take Canada, but our opinions have been ignored and they plan on moving forward toward their goals. They have also made it very clear that nothing will stop the planned outcomes. You know what? BS. No way. If we got together, guys, I am telling you, if we put down our minor differences, stopped majoring in the minors, and just got together on those three principles and precepts that nobody has a higher claim over your life and property than you. It's always wrong to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong. And the golden rule, do to others what you would want done to you. Conversely, don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. We could do everything at all times together. You would have a just reputation-based society. They have also made it very clear that nothing will stop the planned outcomes. The roadmap and aim was set out by the PMO and is as follows. Phase in secondary lockdown restrictions on a rolling basis, starting with major metropolitan areas first and expanding out where expected by November 2020. And we already saw that thing with the University of California. By November 1st, 2020, I don't have it up here, but by November 1st, 2020, they are requiring all faculty and students and everybody who comes on the campus to be vaccinated with a flu shot. That's such BS, man. Mandatory vaccination or you can't step foot on the campus. As for me and my house, we ain't taking no tests. We ain't taking no vax. No way. Because once you take it, you can't untake it. And who knows what that test is all about, guys? When they swab that thing in the back of your throat, they have something called a mucosal adhesive that drops nanoparticles into your mucous membranes, and it's like a vaccine delivery system. A lot of people are saying that these tests are actually a vaccine delivery system in your mucosal membranes. That's crazy. That's crazy business. And I would not doubt it. And I'm not going to trust Big Pharma. I'm not going to trust the experts. I'm dang sure not going to trust the government. Rush the acquisition of or construction of isolated facilities across every province and territory expected by December 2020. Daily new cases of COVID or cerveza bug will surge beyond capacity of testing. Oh yeah, how do they know that? This is already in the plan? This guy's unfolding a plan. He's revealing and exposing a plan, including increases in COVID-related deaths following the same growth curves expected by the end of November 2020. What are these, a bunch of prophets here? Complete and total secondary lockdown. Complete and total secondary lockdown. Much stricter than the first and second rolling phase restrictions. Guys, it's not about keeping you safe. It's about controlling us. Expected by the end of December 2020, early January 2021. Reform and expansion of the unemployment program to be transitioned into the universal basic income program. That's just going to crash. Guys, they are wanting to just completely crash the economy, not just this Canadian economy, the American economy, the world economy. Digital money is coming. And the only way we can stop it is if we get our heads out of our collective arses and do something about it. Projected COVID-19 mutation and or co-infection with secondary virus referred to as COVID-21, leading to a third wave with much higher mortality rate and higher rate of infection expected by February of 2021. Guys, that's just around the corner. This is middle of October. It's October 15th. This is right around the corner, just a couple months from now. Daily new cases of COVID-21, hospitalizations in COVID-19 and COVID-21 related deaths will exceed medical care facilities capacity. Expect Q1, Q2 2021. Enhanced lockdown restrictions, referred to as third lockdown, will be implemented. Full travel restrictions will be imposed, including inter-province and inter-city, expected second quarter of 2021. transitioning of individuals into universal basic income program, creating an entitlement society. You know what that does to societies? When people expect you to give them a handout for doing absolutely nothing and producing nothing of value for society, they become entitled, they become lazy, and societies crumble. What is that? Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. And then it goes back into the cyclical. Good times create weak men. And that's what we have right now. Weak men. Weak-minded men. Physically weak men. We have men that don't even believe they're men anymore. That's how bad we are. Mad Mike 9837 says it's unfolding in front of us. Right in front of us, guys. They're following this script to the T. They've made movies about this. They've injected their scripts through predictive programming through the last couple of decades. Movie after movie tells us in detail what's going to happen to us. Conditioning us like that frog boiling in the water. Projected supply chain breakdowns, of course, because when you create an entitlement situation in an entitled society, of course you're going to have supply chain breakdowns, not to mention what the Federal Reserve is doing. All these central bankers getting together to screw the American people. And you know what this spells? This spells the end of a large swath of humanity in keeping with the first commandment on the Georgia Guidestones to reduce humanity to 500 million in perfect harmony with nature. Projected supply chain breakdowns, inventory shortages, large economic stability. That's why I'm constantly saying, guys, if you don't have dry storable food, get dry storable food. If you don't have water purification systems, specifically like those, you know, those little bottles with the carbon filter in it where you can actually dip your bottle, you can take the cap off, dip the bottle into like a scummy pond. You know, the scummier the water, the less use you're going to get out of that bottle. It's a water purification bottle with carbon, just this carbon filter in it. And I've tasted this water. The last I used that was last time I went camping. It was, way too long ago. But I dipped it into this. It was a pretty clear stream, but you can dip it into just a algae infested pond and then squirt it into your mouth, and it is crystal clear water. That's the kind of stuff that you want for you and your family. So that if the utilities get shut off, you don't have running water in your house anymore. You can go and, maybe it had just rained and you just dip it into a pothole in the street. You have clean, potable drinking water. But, load up, guys, because they are not kidding around with this stuff. This supply line disruption is coming, and I don't want to be the guy who didn't warn you enough. Get dry, long-term storable food. Get something where you can filter water. Get a water supply, fuel, medical supplies, gold, silver, but especially firearms, guys. Because if somebody finds out that you have all these supplies and they're out there hurting because the majority of humanity will not prepare, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Chance favors the prepared mind. If you're not prepared, chance didn't favor you. And now what are all these people going to do that didn't prepare? Oh, they're going to steal from the people who did prepare. And guys, nice neighbor or not, people will turn into zombies if they don't have food to feed their families. If you don't have something, a personal protection device, you know what I'm talking about, freedom seeds that load those personal protection devices, you will probably have to use this. And it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So dry, long-term storable food, water purification systems, personal protection devices, probably in this order. Freedom seeds, ammo up. Join AMCON, says Ragnar, 65. Fuel, medical supplies, minerals, vitamins, things like iodized salt, electrolytes, everything that your body's going to need. Walking Dead instead of zombies. Yeah, and it makes you wonder why all these zombie movies have been appearing just in the last, like 7-8 years, Walking Dead and all this other stuff. It's getting people prepared to be dehumanized and just blow somebody away. Deployment of military personnel into major metropolitan areas as well as all major roadways to establish travel checkpoints. Oh, God, man. Restrict travel. Don't think this ain't going to happen. Don't think this ain't going to happen in America or Canada. Restrict travel and movement. Provide logistical support to the area. Expect by third quarter of 2021. And this guy says, along with that provided roadmap, the Strategic Planning Committee was asked to design an effective way of transitioning Canadians to meet an unprecedented economic endeavor, one that would change the face of Canada and forever alter the lives of Canadians. What we're told was that in order to offset what was essentially an economic collapse on the international scale, that the federal government was going to offer Canadians a total debt relief. Yeah, what do you think that's going to end in? Guys, when the government gives you something, there's always a big string attached. Actually, it's not even a string, it's a cable. This is how it works. The federal government will offer to eliminate all personal debts. Oh, who's not going to jump at that? Mortgages, loans, credit cards, etc., which all funding will be provided to Canada by the IMF, International Monetary Fund, under what will become known as the World Debt Reset. There you go, man. It's the Great Reset. It's the World Economic Forum reset. And who's not going to jump at this? What do you mean? You're going to cancel out all my debts, all my student loan debt, my mortgage, my car payment? In exchange for acceptance of this total debt forgiveness, the individual would forfeit ownership of any and all property and assets forever. There you go. There you go. And they're going to put us in between such a rock and a hard place that people have not prepared. And one of the other things in preparation is not just to have all those supplies, not just to have long-term storable food and water filtration devices and personal protection devices and ammo and all that other stuff. It's to develop a community that you trust. You need to trust your neighbors. You need to get to know your neighbors now. They need to get to know you. You need to know that they got your back in a bind and you got their back in a bind. That's why we developed that app. Somebody put that, Bowman, if you could put that app, or somebody put that app in the chat room for everybody. It's the Minuteman app. It works everywhere on the planet except probably in North Korea. And you need to get that app. It's free. It's absolutely free. Me and my team developed it. Ben, who's screaming Hawaiian in the room right now, if you haven't gotten this app, get it. There's no strings attached on this app. It's absolutely free. And it's a web-based app, so you can't find this app in the App Store or the Google Play Store. And how you load it onto your phone is completely detailed in this video right here. And all the links that you need to get it going are right here. There's 4 links. It's basically an app set. It's the Minuteman app and the Send Help app. The Send Help app is something that you use for emergency purposes, like if you're stranded, being arrested, if you're in immediate danger. You push that and the alert goes out to everybody in your community, in your group, and it geolocates you. You can turn it on, you can turn it off. So get that app. This is my contribution to my fellow humans. But what you're gonna want and what you're gonna need is to be able to know. Thanks for that, guys. Thanks for dropping that link. What you're gonna need is you're gonna need a support group. No man is an island. We need to help each other out here because the powers are aligned against us, and we had better get together and align against them. Check this out. I'm just going to read this again. In exchange for acceptance of this total debt forgiveness, the individual would forfeit ownership of any and all property and assets forever. What if you say, nope, I'm good, thanks. I don't want it. I don't want debt forgiveness. I'm fine. Matter of fact, I don't owe anything. I own I own this and I own that. I don't owe anybody anything. Well, they'll probably do it by force. The individual would also have to agree to partake in the COVID-19 and COVID-21 vaccination schedule, which would provide the individual with unrestricted travel and unrestricted living under a full lockdown. That is freaking scary. We know it's coming. We know it's coming. The individual would also have to agree to partake in the COVID-19 and COVID-21 vaccination schedule, which would provide the individual with unrestricted travel and unrestricted living, even under a full lockdown. It's like, hey, do you want to be able to walk outside of your house? Do you want to be able to take the metro? Do you want to be able to call a cab? Do you want to be able to take Uber and Lyft? Do you want to go to that restaurant? Do you want to go to that movie theater? Do you want to have freedom? Well, you got to take the vaccination. We know it's coming. Man, this is such a nightmare. This is such a nightmare. I don't care what your position is in life. I don't care how much money you got in the bank or how rich you think you are. We're about to lose everything like that. Everything. Committee members asked who would become the owner of the forfeited property and assets in that scenario and what would happen to lenders or financial institutions. We were simply told, quote, the World Debt Reset Program will handle all of the details. These are committee members, higher ups in the Canadian government, supposedly. Several committee members also questioned what would happen to individuals if they refused to participate in the World Debt Reset Program. That was my question. Or the Healthpass. That Healthpass is, hey, take the COVID-19 and you got unrestricted travel. Or the vaccination schedule. And the answer we got was very troubling. Essentially, we were told that it was our duty to make sure we came up with a plan to ensure that would never happen. We were told it was in an individual's best interest to participate. Isn't that what the government always says? It's in your best interest. This is for your safety. This is for your security. This is for your economic prosperity. You just have to give away a little bit of your freedoms. In this case, you have to give away all of your freedoms. This is a nightmare. When several committee members pushed relentlessly to get an answer, we were told that, quote, those who refuse would first live under the lockdown restrictions indefinitely. And that over a short period of time, as more Canadians transitioned into the debt forgiveness program, the ones who refused to participate would be deemed a public safety risk, of course, and would be relocated into isolation facilities. Okay, so basically what we got here is a 1942 internment camp, Japanese internment camp scenario. Once in those facilities, they would be given two options: participate in the debt forgiveness program and be released, or stay indefinitely in the isolation facility under the classification of a serious public health risk and have all their assets seized. Rock in a hard place. I am telling you guys, if we don't unite, if we don't stand, you've got to understand that as this gets closer, it is not a cliche to say if we don't stand together, we will hang separately. They mean to end our lives. They mean to take 100% of your assets. Everything that you and your family and anybody's ever worked for, your entire legacy gone like that. So as you can imagine, after hearing all this, it turned into quite the heated discussion and escalated beyond anything I've ever witnessed before. Does anybody have a recording of this? In the end, it was implied by the PMO. And remember, the PMO is the Prime Minister's office in Canada. In the end, it was implied by the PMO that the whole agenda will move forward no matter who agrees with it or not. That it won't, this is give me liberty or give me death time right here. That it won't be just Canada, but in fact, all nations will have similar roadmaps and agendas. This is basically Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. That we need to take advantage of the situations before us to promote change on a grander scale for the betterment of everyone. The members who were opposed and ones who brought up key issues that would arise from such a thing were completely ignored. Our opinions and concerns were ignored. We were simply told to just do it. All I know is that I don't like it, and I think it's going to place Canadians in a dark future. You think, okay, something strange about this. There's something strange about this. Who in their right mind, who has any love for their family or any love for their human beings could not resist this with every fiber of their beings? I don't care if they were told to shut up, be shut up. I don't care if they were told to just totally ignore it. It doesn't matter. Man, oh man, oh man. This email communication to me from a verified member of the Canadian Parliament very much fits with something that came out on October 8th via televised proceedings in Parliament. Here, a member of Parliament asked if, quote, the people of Ontario should prepare for internment camps. He was told yes, but in a vague and ambiguous way.
The next question, the member for Lanark, Frontenac, Kingston.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. In my supplemental question yesterday, I asked this government if the people of Ontario should prepare for internment camps. In September, the federal government posted a call for expressions of interest for contractors to supply, provide and manage quarantine isolation camps throughout every province and every territory in Canada. These quarantine isolation camps, however, are not limited to people with COVID.
Quarantine isolation camps.
But provide a wide latitude for many people to be detained. Surely this government is aware of the intentions to build these isolation camps from coast to coast. And my question to the Premier is, how many of these camps will be built, and how many people does this government expect to detain?
Question. Government House Leader.
Thank you.
How many camps will be built, and how many people does this government expect to detain? I think he said.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is very true that when people leave the country and when they come back in, that the province is suggesting, and the federal government, in cooperation with the federal government, we are suggesting that people isolate themselves. That has been a practice that has been very successful, not only here in the province of Ontario, but across Canada. And
That's house arrest. You've got to resist house arrest with every fiber of your being. This is give me liberty or give me death time.
We'll, of course, be redoubling our efforts to make sure that the people of the province of Ontario remain safe, Mr. Speaker. So if the member is referring to the fact that that one of the public health policies is that when you return from a jurisdiction outside of the province of Ontario or from another country that you isolate yourself for 2 weeks, I would suggest that has been a good policy that has been working. In fact, this House has been doing the same thing since we came back. We are working in cohorts to make sure that the Legislative Assembly can continue to operate. That's why we have 2 separate cohorts, Mr. Speaker.
Response.
And with the cooperation of the official opposition, that is why all members of the Independents have been excluded from that cohort, because we want them to be able to participate in debate. So we will continue to do everything in our power to make sure that this House continues, but that the people of the province of Ontario and Canada are kept safe.
Supplementary question.
Again, back to the Premier. Here's the RFP, and in the RFP it uses clear language to express that these camps can be used for a broad spectrum of people, not limited to travellers. Indeed, it does.
So the guy that stood up did not deny the existence of these, quote, quarantine camps.
Doesn't even mention international travellers. It's just a broad latitude of people. And I'll send over the copy of the RFP after. So your government must be in negotiations and aware of these plans to potentially detain and isolate citizens and residents of our country and our province. So, Speaker, to the Premier, where will these camps be built? How many people will be detained? And for what reasons?
Questions.
For what reasons can people be kept in these isolation camps?
Yeah, answer the question.
And I'd like to have the Premier assure the people of Ontario.
Member, take a seat. The next question.
What the heck? He didn't allow the question to be answered. That was weird. That was weird. The Canadian government has issued requests for proposals to industry on the building of camps in every province and territory throughout the country. You know what's ironic about this whole thing is they're using the extortion money that they steal from us, extort from us, to build, basically construct our own gallows, to construct our own quarantine camps. They're going to criminalize everybody. Here's the official government tender. This is outright tyranny, this guy says. Canadians would do well to arm themselves and prepare to throw off any tyrant who attempts this. Concentrate your research into local tyrants first. Once your freedom is gone, it's gone forever. I agree. Once they take it, power concedes